Camp Reading River. We're about to sing a campfire song, so join along with us.
The littlest worm I ever saw got stuck inside my soda straw. The littlest worm I ever saw got stuck inside my soda straw. He said to me, don't take a sip, 'cause if you do, you'll get real sick. He said to me, don't take a sip, 'cause if you do, you'll get real sick. I took a sip, and he went down right through my pipe. He must have drowned. I took a sip and he went down right through my pipe. He must have drowned. He was my pal. He was my pal. He was my friend. He was my friend. There is no more. There is no more. This is the end. This is the end. He was my pal. He was my friend. There is no more. This is the end. Now don't you fret. Now don't you fear. That little worm had scuba gear. Now don't you fret. Now don't you fear. That little worm had scuba gear. The littlest worm I ever saw got stuck inside my soda straw. The littlest worm I ever saw got stuck inside my soda straw.
Yeah, that was a good song. You know what we should do now? What? We should tell scary stories.
Yes.
Do you guys want to hear a scary story?
Sure.
All right. I have a good scary story. It's about this girl named Julie and her dog, Lady. Do you guys want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Julie, she was about 14, and her parents went out one night, and they said that she was old enough to stay home on her own. So she said okay. She felt okay with that. And so what she did, she watched a little TV, and she was getting ready to go to bed. Now, Julie sometimes had a hard time getting to go to sleep. And what she would do to help her go to sleep is she would lay in her bed and she would put her hand down over the bed, and her dog, Lady, would be under the bed, and her dog would lick her hand. And it would comfort her and it would help her fall asleep. And so This night her parents had gone out and she was home alone and she had watched some TV, and so now she was ready to go to bed. So she gets in bed, and so she's having some trouble going to sleep, and so she does what she's normally done for a long time. She lays her arm over the side of the bed and she feels lick, lick, and she says, oh, she rolls around and she tries to go to sleep. She can't. She wakes up again. She puts her arm over the bed and she feels lick, lick. And so eventually she falls asleep. She wakes up the next morning to a dog barking. And she jumps up, she runs to the window, and she sees her dog lady out in the backyard. She had been in the backyard all night, not in her room, under the bed. So who was under the bed licking her hand?
Oh,
Creepy.
No one knows.
Really creepy.
Yeah, so that's pretty scary, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, I have an idea. I have one from this book I want to read. You want to hear it?
Yeah. You want to see
Okay.
this flashlight
Yes.
to make it spookier?
All right. This story is called The Guests. A young man and his wife were on a trip to visit his mother. Usually they arrive in time for supper, but they had gotten a late start, and now it was getting dark. So they decided to look for a place to stay overnight and go on in the morning. Just off the road, they saw a small house in the woods. Maybe they rent rooms, the wife said, so they stopped to ask. An elderly man and woman came to the door. They didn't rent rooms, they said, but they would be glad to have them stay overnight as their guests. They had plenty of room and they would enjoy the company. The old woman made coffee, brought out some cake, and the four of them talked for a while. Then the young couple were taken to their room. They again explained that they wanted to pay for this, but the old man said he would not accept any money. The young couple got up early the next morning before the host had awakened. On a table near the front door, they left an envelope with some money in it for the room. Then they went on to the next town. They stopped in a restaurant and had breakfast. When they told the owner where they had stayed, he was shocked. "That can't be," he said. "That house burned to the ground, and the man and the woman who lived there died in the fire." The young couple could not believe it, so they went back to the house. Only now there was no house. All they found was a burned-out shell. They stood staring at the ruins, trying to understand what had happened. Then the woman screamed. In the rubble was a badly burned table like the one they had seen by the front door. On the table was the envelope they had left that morning.
Oh no, that's crazy.
Oh my gosh, that was really scary.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I would be so scared. That was a good one. Okay, I have an even better one, scarier than my first one. It's called the yellow ribbon. Okay, so there was a man and a woman. They met and they fell in love. And the woman always wore a yellow ribbon tied in a bow around her neck. And so the man said, "Why do you wear that yellow ribbon around your neck?" And she said, "Don't worry about it." And they were in love, and so he said, "Okay, I don't care." So they got married and they had kids and everything was great. And they grew old together and their kids had kids and they had grandkids. And so she still always wore that yellow ribbon. And so the man was still really curious about it, but, he didn't want to, keep questioning her because everything was so great. But every once in a while he would ask and she would say, "Don't worry about it. Everything's fine." So they grew old and she was very, very old and she was dying. She was on her deathbed. And so she said, "Honey, I know that you always ask me about this yellow ribbon. So I guess it's time for me to tell you now so you can pull the yellow ribbon to find out why I wear this yellow ribbon." And so, he was curious his whole life what was going on with this yellow ribbon. So he pulls the yellow ribbon and her head fell off.
Whoa.
Yeah, the yellow ribbon was holding the woman's head on her entire life.
And he never knew.
And he never knew. So if he had pulled it off earlier, her head would have fallen off.
Oh gosh.
So that's the story of the yellow ribbon.
That was a really good one.
Yeah.
All right. But do you want to hear a really, really scary story?
Yes.
Okay. This is a story that my grandma told me. Now, my grandma was a little girl during the Great Depression. And, back then there wasn't a whole lot of money for food. So one day, my grandma's mom, my granny, opened up the pantry door and she saw that all that was left was one old onion. And there were 5 people in the family, so one onion was not going to feed them. So my granny decided to go out and look in the woods to try to find some food. She thought maybe she could find some berries, or maybe she could catch a rabbit, something like that. So she walked through the woods all day long. She walked and she walked and she walked. She could not find any food, but she was determined. She was not going to come home without some food for her family. So she kept searching, she kept searching, and she kept searching. Finally, she saw something sticking out of the ground, and she thought it was a potato. So she got really excited. She reached down to pick it up, and she realized it was not a potato. It was a big, fat, hairy toe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at first she was disgusted. When she thought about it, she realized there was a lot of meat on the toe, and that if she cut it up really small, her family wouldn't know. So she reached back down and she yanked the toe out of the ground and put it in her basket and came home. Okay? So she'd been gone so long that by the time she got home, it was getting dark, it was time for dinner. So my granny got a pot and she filled it with water. She got the onion, chopped it up, put it in the pot, and was just about to cut into the toe when she heard something in the wind. It went like this. Who took my toe? My granny thought that she must have been imagining it. So she picked the knife back up, was about to cut into the toe again, and she heard it a second time, a little closer. Who took my toe? And then there were footsteps. And the house started to shake until it was right outside. One more time she heard it really loud. Who took my toe? Granny was so scared, but she had to protect her family, so somehow she found the courage to open up the window. She took the toe, threw it outside, slammed the window shut, and said, "Here's your toe!" And just like that, everything was calm again. There was no voice, no wind, the house wasn't shaking, everything was fine. So the next day, my grandma went outside to go to school, and she saw some footprints in the dirt. And on the left foot, the big toe was missing.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, creepy, right?
Yes.
Really?
Oh my gosh, I wonder who it was or what it was.
They never found out.
Okay, that wins us the scariest story. Oh,
no.
Yeah. Oh, I am spooked out. Oh, wow. Well, it is getting late. We're gonna have to get some sleep.
Yeah, let's
I
get to
think.
bed.
All right. It's time to go to sleep. Oh.
How about a little song to go to bed
Oh,
to?
I think that'll help because I'm a little scared.
Good night, my friends, good night. Good night, my friends, good night.